But I think one of the biggest one from a user experience point of view was the latency. But another big change from a more technical point of view was, instead of traditional kind of voice chat pipelines, which usually take an image or a video, translate it into text, then you do the text generation, and then you go back from text to speech in some way.
Nice.
That takes a lot of time. That's why the traditional kind of models take like 4 or 5 seconds to do. But in this case, it can do it in 200 milliseconds.
Seamless.
And the really big change and improvement here is not only the latency, but it can actually, it doesn't lose all the information that you have. When I look at Henrik, when he speaks, I can see on his face, or I can hear from the audio that he speaks, that now he's happy, or now he's really angry. And all these kind of emotions is something now that this model can understand. And it can not only understand, it can actually generate as well. So in these kind of demos that you heard from OpenAI, you can see, you can ask the model to be even more happy, or show more emotions, or show less emotion, or speak in a robotic voice. And it can even understand things that has nothing to do with the actual text, what you say. It's how you say it, not what you say. That type of new information from the body language and not the textual language is something that wasn't possible to understand before. I want to say, though, that this is actually how Gemini was starting before.
Yeah, I was just going to ask, like, what's your take then on like who is at the front and who which one is going to get better?
So I think in this case, OpenAI was actually inspired by Gemini, because when they announced it, the first even 1.0 was really, it was from the start created from a multimodal perspective, but they didn't nail the whole like user experience part of it. And even today with the latest launch, they haven't as good user experience as OpenAI has. So they were inspired from it, but they engineered it even better than Google could.
But I think this also highlights, and I saw an interview with Sam Altman on it. We need to progress on the model itself. Yes. Okay, but it's so many other things in order to make it a seamless system that is, at some point in time, this is not a model question, it's a user experience question, it is a latency question. There are these different facets that in the end, imagine the opposite. We had an even better model now, but the latency is shit, and the modality is shit. So I think I'm very impressed with how OpenAI, as still a fairly small company, are balancing their priorities between focusing on the model or focusing on the experience. I think they're doing this really well.
I completely agree, but I have to say that I'm happy that Google is catching up.
Yes.
I mean, they have not